First of all, I want to apologize because some of the parts of this story are a little fuzzy. This did happen 5 years ago. Anyways, I met Jamie in middle school, and the two of us hit it off instantly. We both had similar interests, and I liked her fiery attitude quite a bit. About a year after we met, she moved from the East Coast out to Las Vegas. We did stay in touch, talking almost every day after school or during the summer. We were extremely close and shared almost everything with each other, including secrets we shared with nobody else. In short, we knew each other quite well. When the two of us entered high school, our dating lives were no exception to this. We shared who we were crushing on and cheered for each other or consoled each other whenever we had a breakup. We even entertained the idea of dating one another because of how well we got along, but decided that the long-distance thing just wouldn't work. That's when one day, out of the blue, she mentioned Ryan. Jamie went to school with him. He was quiet, shy, calm, and very smart. She mentioned that they were dating, and I was a bit confused. She had never spoke about him before. She hemmed and hawed a bit when I asked her for details, but the general gist of it was that he had a crush on her for a long time from afar, and just finally worked up the courage to ask her out. She accepted, and I didn't think anything of it. After that, I was slowly introduced to Ryan. At first, he was added to our IM chats, which we used whenever it was too late to be up on the phone or when the batteries on our phones died. He didn't talk much, but he seemed fine when he did. He started to pop up more often, and I grew to generally like him. We would all sometimes three-way chat with each other, and we even added him to a Google Doc of ours where we would write collaborative fiction. That summer of 2009, I saved up for a visit to Jamie in Vegas. It was an incredible trip, and I still remember it to this day. Pro tip: if you go to Vegas, make friends with somebody who has a Nevada ID. Anyways, at the time, Jamie and Ryan were taking a break from their relationship, but I still met him one day, and he seemed pretty normal. He was about 2 years older than me and Jamie were. I think we were about 14 or 15 at the time. He was tall, dark hair, dark eyes, tan skin. We talked briefly, though I don't remember exactly what it was about. When I returned from Vegas, my contact with Jamie waned. I figured it was because we were going back to school, and both of us had started college prep and had different programs. Phone calls became less frequent, despite transitioning from house phones to our own cell phones. She stopped logging into her MSN and her IM chat client. She just kinda went silent. I was concerned with my own activities and didn't want to press her while she was probably busy. Next spring, though, she called me late at night. Something had happened. Something with Ryan. She was crying, panicking, and apologizing. I couldn't understand her, and it took me almost an hour to get her to calm down. Eventually, after she stopped crying, she laid out everything from the beginning. She had started dating Ryan, which was about a year prior at that point. He apparently randomly approached her and just said that they were dating, despite them never having spoken before. Like I said, he seemed like a nice guy. Jamie figured this was just his way of getting over being shy and asking her out. So, she accepted. She also figured that He must have had a crush on her for a little while, because he seemed to know so much about her, despite having different friend circles and no contact. Slowly, he started to become more controlling, particularly when it came to her contact with other people. He demanded to go with her whenever she went out with friends, even if he hadn't been invited and didn't know the person who invited her. He butted in and became part of every conversation she had at school. He declared that they had to meet in the hall between every class, even if it meant she had to run across the school to avoid being late. As Ryan became more involved in her life, he started to focus on her interactions with me. He asked to be added to our chat sessions because he was afraid she was cheating on him with me. He knew that we were close and that we thought about dating before. He said he even needed to know what we were writing, so he had her add him to the Google Doc despite having no intention of contributing. And, though she kept it a secret of how much we talked on the phone, he requested to be added each time we did. Their break was really because she had told him I was going to visit her. He asked her to tell me to stay home, despite having planned this trip for months, and she refused. I ended up meeting him while I was there by accident, and she was legitimately scared he might have done something to me. After I went back home, he apologized and tried to make it up to her. It was textbook abuse and the nature of their relationship. He would mistreat her and then act all sweet until she came back to him. He even started pressuring her to cut ties with me again and started lying about hurtful things I supposedly said to him about her. She didn't believe it, but he wore her down with persistence. He would check her phone and her computer to see if she had messaged me. After a particularly bad fight, she snapped and said she was going to call me and tell me everything that was going on with them. She told Ryan that she was going to leave and move back to the East Coast where she still had family. He responded by shoving her to the floor and breaking her arm. He then stormed out and she cried. He called Jamie the next day and apologized for everything. He said he would let her call me Sunday and would make up for what he did by taking her hiking in the Red Canyon on Saturday. She cautiously accepted. Friday night, at about 8 p.m., Jamie gets a knock on the door. It's the police, and they want to speak with her and her mom. They came in and proceeded to tell her that they had received a tip from one of Ryan's friends that he was planning to hurt Jamie. They got a warrant and searched his room and his car. They found a detailed note about his plans to drive her out to the Nevada desert and commit suicide by slashing their wrists so that they could be together in the afterlife. If she did not agree to it, then he would have stabbed her to death. After the cops left, she called me immediately and spilled the beans on everything. She apologized for keeping it from me this whole time. She said she felt like she could handle this all on her own, and she didn't want me to get involved. We ended up staying on the phone all night until both of us fell asleep. We even started talking regularly again after that, but I've sadly fallen out of contact with her since. I still check up on her every once in a while on Facebook, though. She's moved away from Las Vegas and back to the East Coast, and she does appear happy now. As for Ryan, I believe he was admitted to a mental health facility and is still there to this day. I'm not sure what charges were brought against him exactly, but he wasn't declared mentally fit for trial, and Jamie still has a restraining order out against him. It just freaks me out that something like this could happen to somebody I was so close with. I used to talk to this guy. I met him in person, and yet he was probably already planning to kill my best friend at that point. I still get shivers when I think about him, Or think about how Jamie sounded that night after she found out, only hours before he planned to murder her. The police never revealed who tipped off the cops about Jamie, but I can't even imagine what it would be like if they hadn't. Hey guys, Scary Stories here. What did you think of that one? Sorry it got a little bit more serious than I like to get on here, but I do think stories like this can be very important to hear every once in a while. Kind of helps you get some perspective, get some insight into patterns of behavior and such. I don't know. You don't need me giving you life advice. If you think your friends might, maybe reach out to them. You never know. But anyways, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. I really do appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you have a good night. Bye for now.